So, hello everyone, welcome to this podcast. And do you know why do we have started this podcast? There is a reason that I love astronomy for, and that reason is although we know that we won't be able to understand the universe completely or explore it completely, yet we are still trying to. Do you know why? Because it is not the reason to demotivate us. It is the reason that is motivating us to learn more, which is telling us that there is still a room that we haven't discovered, that we haven't known, that we don't know about. So for that reason, we have started this podcast, and for that reason, we have the perfect guest to start our podcast with. So please give a warm welcome to Mr. Praveen Suryavanshi, sir, an engineer turned certified astronomy educator and content developer who started his professional career as a software developer with IBM before taking up his passion as a full-time career. He co-founded an amateur astronomy society in Hyderabad and later joined an astronomy-based tech startup, Y-Sky, aiming to develop cost-effective telescopes in the country. Over the past 9 years, he has worked with multiple ambitious startups and educational institutions to bring the luxury of space science for everyone through educational products and services. He was also a science communicator for National Geographic India during Chandrayaan-2 mission. Currently, he is working with NAVA's EduTech as a senior astronomy educator and heading the content and delivery. With special expertise in space lab and conceptualization, implementation, and development over the past 2.5 years. For him, astronomy is not just a passion, it's a way of life. So, sir, although you don't need an introduction, would you please like to give a small, brief intro to our audience?
So whatever you have said so far, it sums up about me, right? And thank you for that. Okay. Um, but yeah, so that's a brief of what I have done so far. But when I talk about astronomy, right, it all started in my high school days, basically. Back then, I didn't have access to internet. Obviously, back then there was internet, but I was from a small town. I didn't have access to internet, and then I used to listen to radio. My father, gifted me, but because he was actually refraining me from watching television because I get addicted to it and I'll get diverted from the studies. Now, when I used to listen to the radio, I used to very much curious about the news, especially the news bulletin that comes in. Whenever there is a news on technology or missile development or rocket development, I used to, get hooked up to that for some time, and I used to take notes unknowingly. So that way it started. I feel that it naturally comes to me that I have this interest towards space, right? And I used to ask questions to my teachers and my parents and all. And some of the answers I used to get, but some of the answers I didn't used to get, obviously. Then I used to search myself, going outside, going to internet cafe. You used to have something called internet cafe back then. Okay, so we used to pay 10 rupees per 1 hour. Okay, and then I used to study about ISRO and other things that are happening, and I used to watch documentaries and all, and that way, kind of, um, I built my interest into space science and astronomy. And you know that during those days, I'm talking about early 2000 and late 2000s, okay, 2005, 6 and all. We didn't have much exposure on all those things. There were no outreach programs and there were no space labs like you have today. Okay, so there are no telescope access to telescopes and all. So I used to rely on newspaper, interacting with teachers, and sometimes going to a science center, okay, going to a museum and also to get the information and to get some hands-on experience. So that slowly increased and all, and obviously I was not thinking it as a career option, and conventional way I was directed towards doing engineering, right? So I did my engineering. Okay, I got my job. Okay, good job in one of the best MNCs in the world, like you mentioned, IBM. I was enjoying the job, but at the same time there was this gap. Okay, in my college days also I was very active in outreach programs and astronomy. I was constantly learning about that, by the way. But as a career option, I have never thought of it. Okay, but slowly I realized that there are career opportunities in this, and I can also bridge the gap that actually I experienced in my childhood. Okay, that there was no outreach, there was no good exposure and all. So I see the gap still exists even in the late 2000s, and all. So then I started parallelly doing the work, okay, in IBM, and I started a club in Hyderabad with very passionate enthusiasts, right, the students as well as the professionals. And then I met a lot of professional astronomers. I met people who are doing good stuff, okay, doing research and all. I got good exposure on the research, what is happening. I visited universities, institutes, laboratories, okay, ISRO centers and all. And then I realized that, okay, I should take it seriously and I should start things on my own. And then I started taking courses from universities like Arizona, Duke University, and then I visited institutes, like I said, right, Birla Planetarium, OU, Astronomy Department. So then I got very good knowledge, okay, beyond what I explored previously, and then I got confidence that I can go into this full time. And luckily, I got opportunity to work with a startup 5 years ago, where they were actually developing the telescopes for the first time in India, okay, which serves everybody, whether it is students, amateurs, or any space enthusiast, or even universities level, right, even for academia. And then pandemic hit us. It actually turn the things upside down, as you know. And then again, I got opportunity with Navas Edutech, and where we started conceptualizing Space Lab and bringing all my experience over last 10, 15 years, and whatever my dreams are there, and also the dreams of the company. And the management was very supportive. Okay, they had this vision of bringing this space education, not only just in India but abroad. Okay, so now we have over 65 labs in India, and we are expanding very fast abroad, okay, especially in Middle East and other regions. And I'm very thankful for the life, which has given me the opportunity, and people supporting around you. Okay, I'm here with you, and so you are. I'm feeling very happy that you are sitting in a lab and talking to me and asking this question. So this was a dream for me 10 years ago. Okay, yeah, that's it.
We were introduced to astronomy because of this lab as a subject. So let me ask you, when were you first introduced to astronomy as a subject?
As a subject, I know astronomy is a subject. Obviously, I used to do a lot of study and research on this from my college days, as I said. When I visited the university, especially with astronomy departments and all, so I started accessing their libraries and all. I got access to their libraries and all. I was going through the books, and they are pretty deep in terms of content and all. So I would say um, during 2014-15, I got good access to this astronomy as a subject in depth, I would say.
So how has been the journey with Nawaz so far?
Like I said, yeah, it was very, what do you say, motivational journey, right? So the organization motivated me to make my dreams reality, right? And also um, realize the dreams of students like you. Okay, so you are the dreamers, right? We wanted to enable you, we want to give right skills, exposure, so that you can make your dreams come true. Okay, whether you want to become a space scientist, okay, rocket scientist, anything in any field you think of. But talk about space, right? There are a lot of careers in space, starting from software all the way to rocket technology, innovations, and everything comes under rocket science, isn't it? So yeah.
So, sir, before diving into our main topic, would you like to give a brief introduction about what is astronomy as a subject, or what is actually astronomy to our audience?
um, Very good question. See, astronomy is one of the oldest science, they say. Why? Because astronomy all began by just looking at the sky. You don't have to write research papers. You don't have to have a big telescope to study the stars. Yeah, obviously today it's a reality, but if you go back thousands of years, any curious person, whether it could be a stone, during the Stone Age, or any during the um, era where Renaissance, I would say, like where scholars started studying the sky. So when you start looking at the sky, that is where the astronomy starts. Okay, right? And it all began that way. Today it's completely different, as you know. It's completely depending on the instruments, satellites, telescopes, researching about the stars, galaxies. Basically, astronomy tries to studies the entire universe, right? Whatever is there in the universe, the entire energy of the universe, the matter of the universe. the matter which is visible, non-visible, anything that existed in the universe, that is existing in the universe, astronomy studies. And if you go by definition, astronomy is purely observational stuff, okay, studying from the earth, looking at the stars.
Aspirers like me have a doubt that although we are living on Earth and we have many issues on this planet as well, but what is the main reason that we have to study about astronomy, about space in the first place? Why do we need to study about that?
The thing is, see, as a human being, we have this curiosity, right? We have very fundamental questions. What is this fundamental question? That who am I? Isn't it? As an intelligent species, we have these very, very fundamental questions. Who am I? Where are we? What is our position in space? Okay. Are there life out there like us? Okay. How big is the universe? How it all started? How it is going to end? These are the very fundamental questions as an intelligent species, isn't it? So, this curiosity towards knowing the unknown, right? Knowing our position in the universe, knowing ourselves was the main drive, okay, which led to this exploration, isn't it? And why it is important? It is important as a species, right? We are, as an intelligent species, to know about yourself, isn't it? So without that, we feel incomplete. For example, if you have gone to a new place, let's say you have moved from one school to other school, you would like to explore the school, right? Where is the staff room? Where is the playroom? Where is the lab? Okay, where is the ground? Right? You want to explore the locality. Where are the shops where I can get bicycles get repaired, or I can purchase this and that, right? So you like to explore the surroundings. So without that, you will be very impatient. That you don't feel good that I want to explore the surroundings. Similarly, as a species on this planet, we want to explore the surroundings. What are the surroundings? It's a solar system, and what is the neighbor of solar system, and neighbor of that, neighbor of that, neighbor of that. So it leads to the entire universe, isn't it? So that is what I say. And this curiosity and exploration actually led us till here, isn't it? We'll talk about that, okay? I don't want to go into deeper, so that is the short answer I can give.
Knowing our place in the universe. So what do you think? Where do we, us human beings, what is our position in this vast universe? Where do we stand?
When you're an observer, right, you're always in the center. Let's say you are standing on a building. When you see surrounding your city, let's say if you're in a city, you're on top of a building. When you look around, what do you see? You'll see all the trees, buildings, whatever, up to horizon, right? Horizon looks like a circle for you, isn't it? So you are the center of your view, isn't it? Okay. So when a human being is observing the universe from the earth, okay, we are the center of our observable universe. You got me? We are the center of our observable universe. Okay, now when you are in the center of when you are in the top of the building, you are the center of your viewpoint, right? Now you look at the buildings up to one limit only, right? But beyond that limit also there are buildings, isn't it? Beyond your horizon there are buildings. Beyond your horizon there are trees, rivers, cities, continents, isn't it? But you cannot see that. You're getting my point.
Yeah.
Now to see that, what you have to do?
We want to explore it more. Like I want to go to that building.
City, yeah, you need to go to other building, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then again you are in the center of your view field, isn't it? Your field of view. And then again you have a limited space to see. But you want to explore more. What you will do?
And then we will go to another building and explore that.
Yeah, you'll go to another building. Then if it is not enough, you will cross the city. You'll go to other city and you will explore the surroundings. So human being is also like that. Okay. So we are on a building called the Earth, isn't it? We have certain limitations to see, right? With our eyes, what we see with our eyes is some planets within the solar system, moon, our star, and stars nearby. But that is not the entire universe. Okay. So over the centuries, we realized that universe is bigger than that. We are part of a galaxy. You know that, part of a galaxy called Milky Way, isn't it? So our star is just one of billions of stars in this galaxy. And then we realized that just during 1930s, okay, 1920s or 1930s, we realized that, oh, there are more galaxies. Till 1920s, 1930s, we don't know there are other galaxies. Imagine, just 90, 100 years ago. So we realized that, oh, there are more galaxies than us, and they discovered that there are thousands and billions of galaxies out there. And where all these galaxies are residing, they are residing in this thing called universe, right? And whatever universe we see is again the limited universe that we see, like you are on the top of the building. To see what is beyond the visible universe, we need to travel to out there, and again you have to hop onto other galaxy to see the other hidden galaxies. So basically, they say that whatever we see is just part of the universe. We don't see the entire universe. That's the reason we call it as a observable universe, visible universe. So the entire actual universe is bigger than this, right? So if you ask me this question, there is no simple answer for this. Where we stand in this universe, we cannot pinpoint your position until unless you know the entire picture. You got me, right? So if you're in a city, you are at certain latitude and longitude, because we know the entire Earth, right? As a sphere, we know the edge to edge of the Earth, right? We have drawn these lines, vertical lines and horizontal lines, and we know which latitude and longitude you are belonging to. That is your position on the Earth. But we don't know the exact position of the planet Earth or the solar system in the universe, because we have not seen the edges of the universe, isn't it?
Yeah.
But we know where we are in the galaxy, which arm of the galaxy, at what position. They say that we are at 3/4 distance from the galaxy, isn't it? And there's an arm, okay. I don't know exactly. It might be Perseus arm. Okay, we are part of that arm in the galaxy, and it's one of the stars that is the sun. Okay, and that keeps on moving, isn't it? It's not constant. So yeah, there is no simple answer. Still, we are exploring about the universe, isn't it?
We are still finding about that answer, that where do we stand?
Yeah, where do we stand in the universe? That's a good thing, right? Still, we don't know a lot of things about the universe.
And that's the thing that I love about astronomy.
Yeah, it's never-ending process of exploration, isn't it?
So, sir, let's dive into our main topic. And my first question will be that how has astronomy helped us humans in technological advancements like the space race? Many things like GPS and or space radar, these things were made due to the space race.
Space race was a recent thing, right? When you talk about space exploration or astronomy in particular, like I said, it all started thousands of years ago. Okay, because for any species, what is the fundamental thing?
Uh, to survive.
Exactly. Okay, any species on this planet, what they are trying to do, they are trying to survive, isn't it?
Right.
So we as human beings are also trying to survive, isn't it? So for survival, you need to adapt, right, with the environment. Um, we need to tackle the problems that the environment poses you, right? If you look at any species, they have this problem of changing climate. Okay, if it is going to be cold and snowing, then they'll migrate to other places, isn't it? Yes or no?
Yeah.
And if it is there is a let's say if it is very volatile environment, for example, there are predators, a lot of predators, let's say. Okay, they'll move on to other place, isn't it? So it's part of survival. If there is no food, lack of food, they'll move to other place. If there is no water, access to water, the species will move to other place. Similarly, human beings were same, but any other species like a monkey or a bird or an animal, anybody, right? So human beings are also trying to survive, and for survival, you need certain tools, isn't it? Animals, birds, they have their own tools, isn't it? So birds can fly if there is a predator coming nearby, right? So they can escape from that region. They can migrate with their wings, traveling hundreds of kilometers or even thousands of kilometers, isn't it? Now, animals, they have their own defense system. Okay, whether some animals possess poison, some animals possess horns. Okay, or strong bite, attacking nature, right? Paws. So like that, what human being had to survive? What was our main tool to survive?
Our minds, our brains, the capability to think.
Exactly. We didn't have wings to fly, right, from a problem, right? We didn't have enough speed to travel, with 50 km per hour speed like cheetah does or tiger does, isn't it? So we don't have
Right.
this physical endurance to attack somebody and, kind of kill it, isn't it? Human beings were generally weak. Homo sapiens, or before that, we talked about um, the Neanderthals, right? So they were also weak physically. We were physically weak, but we were mentally getting strong because we need to find the advantage, right? One advantage which actually makes us evolve, isn't it? That advantage was thinking. So this brain actually started building tools, external tools, not internal tools. Every animal has internal tool, right? They use their body as a tool. Okay, fur, like I said, horns, eyes, anything. But human beings were not having physical endurance, right? Physical strength. Then we started using our brain to build things. What we started with simple tools like stone. We started using stone, right? Still, in the animal kingdom, there are millions of species, but they're still trying to figure out to use the tools, right? Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
They don't know yet how to make a knife. They don't know yet to build a big house, right? They are building house, but okay, it's temporary. They don't know how to build a permanent house. They still don't produce any tools, isn't it? Yes or no? But we are doing it. For what purpose? For survival purpose, right? So we started, using tools like stick, isn't it? Stone, sharp stones to attack things, and making weapons out of it, isn't it? Weapons. And along with that, we started using sky as a tool. You're getting my point.
Yeah.
Like, for this question, there is no short answer. I'm coming from all the way. So what I'm saying is, we started using sky as a tool. Oh, how the sky becomes a tool for you? Obviously, it's part of survival, right? Now, when I want to go for hunting, isn't it? So I was the human being. When I say I refer to the human beings or Homo sapiens. I was finding difficulty to hunt on certain days because I cannot see things clearly because human vision was not that clear like the other animals. So we started hunting on certain days because the visibility was better during the night. I'm saying especially. So what do you think on which days I can hunt in the night perfectly?
On which days we can hunt perfectly
In the night,
in the night.
where there will be some light in the night to
The full
navigate
moon.
around. Yes, exactly. So the Homo sapiens started using the full moon phase to choose for hunting in the night. You got the thing right. Now we started using the night sky as a tool, isn't it? So we were using moon phases as a tool, and there are evidences to prove this, which dates back to almost 20, 30,000 years in Central Africa, in France, and in India too. Okay, so they have seen paintings, okay, cave paintings, and also the carvings on the bones and other fossils. Okay, so they were marking the moon phases, and these moon phases were marked along with animal behavior, animal hunting. Okay, so they draw animal on top of certain moon phase. That means we need to hunt on these days, right? So they were choosing the moon phases. They were selecting certain days to go for the hunting. We started using moon as a tool, isn't it? So we started using moon for various other purposes. For example, a woman is pregnant. How do you track the pregnancy cycle? So they
Uh,
started using the moon's phases. One moon phases. They know that 9 moon phases, full moon phases, is equal to one pregnancy cycle. Okay. So that way they used to track the pregnancy cycle. That way they used to track, they used to decide when to go for hunting and when to go for migration and all. For example, again, not only just moon, they started using the stars in the night sky. They started observing the night sky and they see, okay, certain stars are in certain pattern. Okay, that particular star is in particular position and that is not moving always. Okay, and they realize that this is the North Pole star, Polaris. Today we call it Polaris. And they use this pole star to navigate around. Okay, so to go towards the north, they use the eastern sky, some stars in the eastern sky, some stars in the western sky, to move around the planet and survive. So it all began by using the sky as a survival tool, and that gradually increased. How it increased? Now, after a few thousands of years, we were no more hunter gatherers. We started a new invention. Do you know there was a invention which changed the entire humanity? What is
Fire.
the biggest invention?
Fire.
That was one, but there was another invention which changed the humanity completely. It
Compass.
was no, it's a tool, small tool, but there was one thing. Earlier, before that, we were hunter gatherers. After that, we were civilized people. What was the paradigm shift that brought? Okay, because of this one invention.
Agriculture.
Exactly. So agriculture was the biggest invention, they say, in a human endeavor, in human evolution cycle. So earlier we were nomads, right? We didn't have any home to live. We didn't have any place to live. We were nomads. Wherever the food is there, wherever the animals there, the hunter used to go there, right? We used to live on the trees. We used to live in the caves. So then agriculture. What agriculture changed is settlement. Agriculture bought settlement. So when settlement means that we don't have to travel anywhere. We just have to plow. We need to just put the seeds and get the fruits freely. You don't have to hunt. You don't have to run and all, right? You can settle at one place. Then we became civilized people. We started building homes. Then we started dividing the jobs. Women were actually keeping the home. They were keeping the food. They were actually upbringing the children, right? So they were mostly towards keeping the home. That's the reason they call homekeepers, right? And then men especially, okay, they started going out to plow, to do the hard work, okay, to move around, to lift heavy stuff, cattle, using cattle as a tool, right? So we started using cattle as a tool, okay, so for agriculture purpose, and this changed everything. Then we started, the civilization, like I said, we started building new tools. There was specialization. Some people were specialized in agriculture. Some people were specialized in building tools. Some people were specialized in making clothes. Some people were specialized in tracking the seasons, because agriculture was heavily dependent on seasons, right? Now, here is the thing. When some people were specialized to track seasons, again, they were relying on certain tools. The sky as a calendar, the sky as a seasonal tracker. Then some selective people will started studying the sky to plan the agriculture. Then they knew, okay, when the seasons are actually changing, which stars, which constellations are rising in which season. So using the constellations and stars, they were actually tracking the seasons, and also sun's movement in the sky. And then they started building the tools like clocks. And today in your lab, you have a clock which tracks the seasons and sun, isn't it? And that we
Yeah.
call the season clock, right? You're using that clock.
Sundial.
Sundial, isn't it? So it was an invention because of the demand to track the seasonal cycle for agriculture practices. The other thing, right? And then we slowly started building tools like clocks, calendar. We built calendar, right? Okay, we started something called calendar. This calendar was completely based on
The current one that we use.
yeah,
The
the
current one.
calendar that we use today is completely based on what?
The cycle. The time period where Earth revolves around the sun.
Exactly. Right? The scholars who are tracking the sun, who are understanding the sky, they were able to build calendar based on the Earth's movement around the sun. They were able to build the calendars based on the movement of the moon around the Earth. Right? So the calendar that we have today, the 1 month is nothing but the moon cycle. Why we have 1 month, 30 days in a month? It's because there are 30 days in a moon cycle, not exactly, but approximately, right? And why we have 365 days in a year? Because it's a complete cycle of Earth orbiting the sun, right? It's a seasonal cycle. We call it tropical season. Okay, that is the year. Moon cycle is a month. Why we have 7 days a week? Do you know why we have 7 days a week? We have 7 days a week Each weekday is named after a planet or an object, right, in the solar system. And we have 7 days a week because human eye can see only 7 objects in our solar system. What are they? We can see the sun, right? We can see the moon. We can see Mercury. Yes, we can see Mercury with eyes. Okay. We can see Venus, which looks like a star. We can see Jupiter. We can see Mars. We can see Saturn. That's it. So the scholars, the sky explorers, so-called astronomers, they knew there are these wanderers in space. Stars are fixed. They are not changing the shape and all, right? They are not changing the pattern. But these are the things which are moving. And they call it wanderers. Today we call it planets. They knew that this is part of our local solar system. Okay, so there are 5 wanderers they identified. 5 planets: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. And apart from that, what we see? We see Sun and Moon. So put together, how many days we have?
We have 7
Five
days.
planets, 1 Sun and Moon.
7 days.
Exactly. So each day is named after these objects. Got it?
Yeah.
So part of our life. We are just following it. We are taking it for granted, but there is a long history behind that, how this calendar was built. Why we are following this? There is a reason why we have leap year concept, right? There is a reason why we have this lunisolar calendar system in various cultures like Hinduism, Jainism, okay, Islamic, okay, or Christianity. Everybody, Chinese, everybody follows this, either moon cycle or solar cycle or both together. It's completely embedded in the calendar. The astronomy is part of a calendar, right? So astronomy and space exploration inspired to build us clocks and calendars, isn't it? Okay. So now again coming back to your question, right? So you're talking about space race, right? That was recent. Okay. All this progression happening, civilizations were building, right? We are doing agriculture successfully by tracking the seasons because of astronomy. The Jantar Mantar sundials that you know, right, in Jaipur,
Yeah.
that was purely built for these practices only, astronomical practice, the agriculture practices, the seasonal variations, trade, okay, timekeeping, calendar building. So for that reason only the entire Jantar Mantar was built, not just for a fun, right? It was built for the purpose of all these reasons, right? Again, it is coming to survival only, right? So eventually we started building new stuff, right? We built astrolabes, we built something called sextants to track the stars. We built astrolabes, we built celestial sphere that you see, that you have, behind you. There is a celestial sphere, right? So we built all those things, sundials, isn't it? All the stuff for this reason, and there was a one shift. Now we are exploring the space sitting on the earth, right? Everything. Yeah. And only eyes were our tools, isn't it? Yes or no? Now the time came, there was a new thing came in our hand which showed more than that we can see. There was a special tool which was invented which was able to show us more than that we see with our eyes. What was that?
A telescope.
Exactly. A telescope, again, is a major invention in human evolution, right? So what telescope did, it did a fantastic job of showing more than what you see with your eyes. It started showing you more stars in the sky. It started showing you the births of the stars, the nebulae. It started showing you the new galaxies that you cannot see with your eyes. It started showing you the planets in up close, right? You can able to see the shape of the Saturn for the first time. You're able to see the moons orbiting around the Jupiter for the first time. Nobody knew how these planets look, right? Obviously with your eyes. They just look as like a star. Nobody knew that there are other things orbiting around other things. You got me, right? People used to believe that Earth is the center of solar system. They used to believe that Earth is the center of entire universe. After the invention of telescope, we got a direct evidential proof that Earth is not the center of solar system. They came to know that, okay, we are not special. There is a huge planet like Jupiter around which there are many, many subplanets or moons are orbiting around them. They found out that there are new galaxies, new stars. The universe suddenly expanded. When the universe suddenly expanded, that means our knowledge expanded, right? Universe is there. Since billions of years, the same universe is there. But our universe in our brain expanded. You got me what
So
I'm saying?
we went from one building to the another building.
Exactly, right? So this happened with the tool of telescope. It is able to show the invisible stuff, isn't it? So with this, yeah, it was a wonderful thing, right? We started knowing more stuff, and that started the subject astronomy. Obviously, that we are learning a lot of things today. And when we started telescope, obviously the advanced telescopes were coming, right? There is hunger for to see more. When we see something better, there is a hunger for seeing more. When there is a hunger for seeing more, the invention starts from there, right? Innovation starts from there. People started building bigger telescopes. People started making bigger optics because you need to make optics to make better telescope. So there is a technology improvement happening, right? You wanted to put this optics on certain stand. There is a mechanical tools that you need to build, right? So obviously these mechanical tools were useful for other things also, like buildings, constructions, mathematical tools like measuring angles and all, right? So this is all happening in combination with other things that are improving in the society. Then another invention happened. Okay, even though when you're using telescope, you're still observing from the earth, right? And you have limitations to see what you can see through telescope. Now what if you want to go out of the earth, right? Like you're saying, jumping from one building to other building. So we started dreaming, okay, we need to escape from the earth like birds, right? And now obviously they're not going to space, but we wanted to fly from one place to other place. Obviously the flights was invented, right? The aeroplanes and all. Now the aeroplanes slowly fueled the technology to build something else, right? Before the aeroplanes, there were even something called firecrackers. You know that firecrackers, right?
Yeah.
So they were launching these firecrackers from one place to other place. It is carrying something, right? So Chinese used, even Indians used for war purpose. Okay, they want to kill other people using rockets, the fire rockets. Okay, so they were putting arrows in that, right? So they are putting other payloads like explosives in that, and they are launching it. So this was the era, okay, which is building new innovations, but for the bad purpose, obviously. Telescope was for the good purpose, but there are other inventions happening like rockets for the bad purpose. So these rockets led to invention of missiles. What is the purpose of missiles? To kill each other, isn't it? Not to explore. Obviously, the missiles were to kill each other, right? So that is what happened in World War II. We used rocket technology, we used this launching technology, missile technology to kill each other. But then there was a realization happened in the world. There is something United Nations was actually coined. There was nothing called United Nations before World War II. World War II gave some real picture of human beings. That means, we, if we are doing like this, right, we'll destroy ourselves. We don't have to wait for an asteroid to destroy ourselves. They realize that, okay, if you are trying to use this technology for the bad purpose, one day, very soon, we'll destroy ourselves. Then they started thinking to use technology in a good purpose. Then we started using missiles for launching satellites, right? So for the first time, if you talk about Sputnik was launched on board the missile rocket. Okay, so when you talk about the US first launch, they were also using the missile technology which was developed by Germany. The scientists who worked for Hitler, they joined US, you know that, and they started NASA. Earlier, they killed people. The same scientists killed people by building missiles, but the same people started launching satellites. Now the satellite started new thing. It is showing the Earth from the top. It is showing the universe from the top, escaping the atmosphere. And this thing became a race. It's not a race of missiles, but it's a race of exploration. It's a race of science. It's a race of expanding human knowledge, right? So earlier the kingdoms were there fighting each other, killing each other. Missiles were built during World War I and II. Now we have rockets. Obviously, there are wars going on in this world right now. Till there are wars because people are still stupid, right? Even though we have gone to the moon, we are still stupid. Some of us, isn't it? So we have to come out of the stupidity and realize that Earth is the only planet right now for us. Because the space exploration, what it taught us, when you explore the Earth from space, when you explore the universe from space, what it taught us? It taught us we are very special. There is no life elsewhere in the solar system right now. There is no other planet which can support life right now. There is no known object right now which can support, and we cannot reach there very quickly, right? So what this exploration of universe is teaching us, we are a special being, we are a part of the universe. Earth is very special, and this special earth we need to protect. However big the universe is, they are still a child of this earth, right? So we cannot escape right now. We didn't build any other home, any other civilization out of our earth. We have a very, very long way there. We should become interplanetary species going forward, obviously. Not sticking to the earth. Obviously, we should protect earth, and also we should try to build earth-like planets, right? From like Mars converting into earth, or Titan, or Europa. So imagine the things that are going to happen in coming centuries, uh, coming millennia, that humans become interplanetary species and become intergalactic species and universal species. And that is the real evolution that we see. Evolution is not killing each other. Evolution is not building technology which destroys the planet. Evolution is something which makes planet sustainable, cares about other species on the earth, takes care of the planet and also other planets. Also, one day maybe taking care of the entire solar system and the galaxy and the universe. How beautiful it is. That is the real meaning of evolution, right?
Yeah.
So we were fighting for our own survival. Hereafter, we should fight for survival of our planet, isn't it? So that is my take on this.
So we on a 1 to 100 scale, where does our understanding of universe stand on a 1 to 100 scale?
Yeah, it's a very straightforward question, and there is a straightforward answer for this also. If you talk about the composition of the universe, right? Out of 100%, we know only 5%. Okay, and this 5% is all that we know about the energy and matter. Okay, we know only 5% of the universe, which comprises of all the things that we know. The matter, the entire things are built of, right? The atoms that we
Yeah.
know, the energy that we know, right? Whether it's electromagnetic energy, magnetic field energy, whatever energy you know, and the matter that you know is only 5% of the universe. What is the rest 95%? They say it is dark matter and dark energy. Why do they say dark matter and dark energy? Because we cannot interact with them. Somehow it is interacting with us. It is affecting us, but we cannot see it. We cannot interact with it. We cannot even study it. We cannot even do anything about it. But it is there. It is affecting us. It is affecting the universe. It is affecting the planets. It is affecting the galaxy. So 95% of the universe we don't know. Dark matter, dark energy means it is, I don't know stuff, right? So whatever we know, we call it normal matter, right? Whatever we know, we call it normal matter. It is not normal matter. It is abnormal. 5% is abnormal, right? Normal matter is dark energy and dark matter. This 5% that we know is actually not normal. You got my point. So 95% is unknown to us, and whatever we know is just 5%. Within this 5%, we don't know a lot of things, right? So I would say probably we know only 1% of the universe, and less 99% is not known.
So on the scale of 1 to 100, we stand at 5.
At 5, yeah, that too approximately, not precisely.
What is the thing that you love about astronomy? Like me, for me, I love astronomy because there is a still very big room to grow and to learn. What is that thing that you love about astronomy?
The thing I love about astronomy is that it is trying to answer the fundamental questions that we ask ourselves. The entire discussion started with that same thing, right? Entire evolution started with the same thing. What was the thing? Who am I? Where are we?
Where do we stand?
Where do we stand? How big this universe is? How it started? How it is going to end? Are there any other universes? Are there any life out there? So this fundamental questions is answered by only one subject or one field of study that you say, it's astronomy and space exploration, right? So this fundamental question is actually led to this evolution of human beings, right? Today we are here with all the technological progress that we see. So that is the beauty of studying the space and astronomy, right? It is trying to answer the fundamental questions that we ask ourselves.
How has astronomy helped us to answer these all curiosity that these all questions that we have? like you just mentioned.
Yes, if you talk about the universe composition, right? What is trying to answer? What is this universe is made up of? It is trying to answer that question, right? Yes or no? And there are telescopes which are dedicated to find exoplanets. When they are trying to find exoplanets, what they are trying to answer?
Is there any other life than us?
Exactly. So there are telescopes and other things which are trying to see the depth of the universe. What they are trying to answer here?
That how big is this universe?
And there are research who are studying the Big Bang theory. What they are trying to understand,
That how did this universe start?
right? So there are huge projects. The biggest project in this on this planet is Large Hadron Collider. It is biggest of any other project you can think of, right? So the particle accelerator in Geneva.
Yeah,
So what is trying to answer? Again, proving the Big Bang theory, how universe started, isn't it?
nothing.
How the matter is created. So if you talk about these cutting edge technologies, James Webb Telescope in recent times, right? Everything is trying to answer these fundamental questions, isn't it?
Yeah,
So we are trying our best, isn't it? We are trying our best, and we are trying to not only just see indirectly, we are also trying to see directly, right? Traveling there and reaching there. Okay, earlier we used to see Mars through telescope, but we are trying to reach on the Mars. We are trying to step on the Mars, right? We were seeing the moon with our eyes for millennia, but we have actually landed on the moon. We are trying to land again, isn't it? So the next exploration will be physically going there and touching these objects, physically touching the planets, physically touching the asteroids, physically touching the galaxies. Obviously we are part of the galaxy, but maybe one day physically touching and sensing the dark matter and dark energy, and that will open up the entire universe. And maybe one day, imagine that we will be traveling from one universe to other universe, which is a unimaginable thing right now for the human beings. But maybe it is true. If it is true for the universe, it will be true for us also, isn't it? As a human being or any other species, the entire universe, I feel, it's a living species, right? We say ourselves we are living, but I feel I completely believe that universe as entity is a living entity, right? Yeah.
yeah. So, sir, before ending this podcast, let me ask you something. That what is that one thing or one message that you would like to give to the new and young and aspiring astronomers?
Well, I'm so small right now. I'm still exploring, right? To give the message. So I don't have any message. Okay. So what I can say is just be curious. Okay. Be fundamental to the nature of human. What is the nature of human being, right? So why we are special among other species and all. So exploration. Okay. Empathy, taking care of each other, right? Taking care of everything. So that is the fundamental nature of human being as a evolved species, right? So if we have that thing, everything falls in place, right? The fundamental thing is that whatever you want to become, probably you can achieve. Okay, I never thought of sitting here today talking to you and exploring this subject on astronomy, bringing this knowledge to everybody, building this program. I never dreamt of this, but when all I had is the curiosity, okay, curiosity of knowing things and sharing things and bringing this knowledge to others, and that made me till here. There are no limits for me. I can do whatever I want to do, considering everybody is supporting, and there is a God's gift. Obviously, I believe in God, right? Nature's support, everything is there. So we need to believe in a human aspect, I would say, right? And that is a message I can give from a personal experience. If you have that kind of a thing, everything falls in place. Okay, if you want to become astronomer, you can become. If you want to become space scientist, you can become. Right? It's all about we need these fundamental things: curiosity, right, and exploration, the mindset of exploration, right? Empathy towards others, isn't it? And caring about the planet, right? Caring about the surroundings, friends, family. That is enough. Okay, that brings everything in place. Whatever you want to become. If you have very specific question, how to become an astronomer, how to become space scientist, it's a different question, by the way, right? But I'm not going into that details. I'm talking about in a generic sense because we are still explorers, right? Yeah.
So, okay, sir, that was it for today's podcast. Very well, thank you from my side for joining this podcast and telling us so much about the universe and how this human society evolved.
Thank you very much. And the questions were very beautiful, I would say. The right kind of questions were there. At your age, asking these questions is very surprising for me, isn't it? Because these are like philosophical questions. Some of the things we discussed was very philosophical, isn't it? We discussed very, very less science, but more philosophical things, because that is what makes us different, right? As a human being. Okay, that fire we need to keep, right? That fire we need to keep on fueling in our mind, and that leads to sustainable planet and sustainable living. Obviously, that is what we need, right? At the end of the day, what we need that only, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you very much. Beautiful questions. And explore the space, utilize the space lab in a right way. There are good career opportunities in this field, as you know, in space tech, especially in space tech field, in rocket science, especially in India. As you know, there are new policies, right, which was launched by government in private sector. There are a lot of companies coming up these days. There are more than 200 startups which in actually coined in last 4 or 5 years. Ashish, Ashish. So yeah, obviously these opportunities are coming up, and you need to put your 100% efforts into your studies, right? Your curiosity into it, and things will come true. Obviously, it's the right age for you to start things, right? In our time, in your parents' time, there was no opportunities. Right now, there are opportunities to do, right? Utilize these opportunities, and all the best.